was offered the job here, I had never stepped foot inside this building. And so I was one of these people that would drive past this building every day. Every day you got thousands of people that drive past this building that will look at the building and will say, oh man, it's a really, really nice looking building, or it's a really cool looking school, but not necessarily know what's going on. And so I knew that my vision for my work here had to be greater than any other place that I've worked. And so part of our vision here is to be the beacon of hope for the city of Cleveland, specifically for the kids. We want to be able to spread a message of love, unity, hope throughout Northeast Ohio, and then to also be a top 100 high school in the state of Ohio. And so I say this is an important part, and my favorite part of the building is because now I get to look out and see the people who are thinking the things that I used to before I came into the building. And this is kind of that lookout. This is kind of that lighthouse lookout, you know, part of that beacon of hope, right? That beacon of hope. Think about when somebody's stranded on the ship, and the purpose of the lighthouse is to provide them with hope when they see that beacon of light. It's like, oh, wow, there's somebody there. This right here reminds me of what the challenges are, what the struggles are, especially being a kid that grew up right down the street from here, of this neighborhood, but what this place can be for the community. So my name is Ricardo Franklin, Sr. I'm the head of school here at the Cleveland School of the Arts High School. And my story started many years ago just as a kid from Cleveland, born and raised right here in this neighborhood, about 5 minutes down the road, 93rd and Cedar. Grew up in a single parent household, 5 brothers and sisters, and seeing and witnessing a lot of what young black boys in the hood grows up seeing. I was no different, you know, seeing the drugs, seeing the guns, you know, seeing some of everything, all the devastation, all of the loss, all of the communities being impoverished. I was no different from any of that. But one thing I knew is that I had a purpose. I understood what that purpose was, but it took a long time to get there. So me being a school leader in the community that I grew up in, it's a blessing, it's an honor, because I get to work with the kids, the people. Some of the same folks still live in the same community and same homes when I was a kid, and now I'm helping to raise their grandchildren. Fashion teacher. Hey.
Hey.
You good? You all settled in?
Oh, yeah, I'm good.
What you need to be successful. So we got 7 different majors. Fashion was introduced a few years ago through our integrated arts program. Integrated arts was a program that allowed kids, like when you go to college and you have a liberal arts major, you kind of pick and choose. You got a little bit of time to decide what it is that you really want to be. That was a part of that program that birthed fashion. So our programs that we have, we've got dance, theater, 3 different musics. You got orchestra, you got band, you got choir. Those are all considered performing arts. And creative arts is creative writing, visual arts, and in our visual arts program, you've got ceramics, you've got digital arts. I hear somebody singing. You got digital arts and you got fashion. That art right there, that came from the original school building. Well, it's a replica, but it is one that is a pretty unique piece. Is that you singing?
Yeah.
Yeah? You want to sing some more?
Yeah. I'll sing later.
So I think the thing that made me different was having the ability to see the impossible and make some of those things become a reality. So when I was out and trying to be in the streets, knowing that what I'm seeing, what I'm doing wasn't for me, but in those moments, being able to see myself as a college athlete, being able to see myself as a husband, as a father, even at the age of 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, I always was able to see myself in the midst of being wrapped up in trying to be a street boy. Those are the things that I knew was in me. I needed to find a way and a path to get through that. So it was just through all of the folks that really poured into me, starting at the age of 10 years old, being able to be at the campus of Case Western Reserve University, right? And knowing that this is somewhere I want to be, not down the street, but right here, those things really made an impact on me. I was just talking about you a little earlier. Yeah, so I don't know what's going on with your key, but as long as you have mine, you're fine, okay? But I'm gonna keep on checking on yours every single day.
Are you sure you didn't leave the
I'm sure. Those desks, I ordered those desks for you. Are they good for you? Are they? Okay, cool. All right, you're welcome, Daniel. This is my favorite class right here. I shouldn't say that because you shouldn't have favorites. But the thing was, you know what I'm saying, when I was a kid, I auditioned to be in the School of Arts and I got denied. And it would have been this particular major in these classes right here.
Look at you got in anyway.
I got in anyway, you know what I'm saying? I got in anyway. It just took me, 30 years, but never say never. So the first person is my mom, Mary Franklin, right? She a soldier, single mom, raising 6 kids on single income, 2-bedroom apartment, 93rd and Cedar. She was able to really reset me and bring me back to a place whenever I did stumble, whenever I did fail. She was able to bring me back to the place that allowed me to remember what my purpose is, what my calling was. She never held me down, but always lifted me up when I did find myself in trouble. And like I said, as a young kid growing up in the city of Cleveland, you found yourself in a lot of trouble because trouble was everywhere. So she was the first person. The second person was a lady by the name of Eleanor Jackson. She wound up kind of adopting me into her family, right? She took me practically off those streets and she gave me something that nobody else did. She gave me the gift of inspiration, right? Where I saw my mother working really hard and I learned a lot of skills, I learned a lot of traits, how to come back from setback. What my godmother did was she taught me how to believe in more than just the impossible and unthinkable. She taught me how to believe in me. And so anything that I really set myself up to be able to do, I was able to do it, and she was the leader in that. And then the third person, I would say, was a guy by the name of Dennis Harris. Dennis Harris, he was the program leader of the National Youth Sports Program at Case Western Reserve University. And this is, 30 plus years ago, and he's still there doing the same type of work. But I never forget, there was one day where we had 100 kids sitting in the gym at Case Western, and it was a money ball day. And he always said that if any kid can make a shot from half court with a basketball, he would give them $100. And it went all summer long, kids missing left and right. And I'm thinking, and he's thinking, yeah, ain't nobody ever gonna get this money. And on the last day of camp, a kid hit that shot. He went into his pocket, pulled out a $100 bill, and gave it to that kid. And to me, I was like, man, that's a man about his word. Because my father wasn't there, so I didn't see those type of interactions from a black male to a bunch of kids that held up his end of what the deal was, right? That gave them something to look forward to and didn't bail on them. So when he did that, I said automatically, and I was 10 years old at the time, I said, I want to be something like him, right? And so to this day, he's still a part of my life, right? We've done some amazing work all across the world, from Australia to San Diego to the Floridas, just impacting kids' lives. So between them three, they really were the architects of who I am today and be able to sit here as a community leader, right? As a father, as a husband, as somebody that a lot of folks come to when they are in the same situations that I am in, because I've got those lessons. I've got that ability to not just share the story, but give them, that same blueprint. It's a blessing. So the district has changed the direction for all of the libraries, all of the media centers in the building. So I wanted to make ours a little more user-friendly, a little more useful to the school building, to the community. So we worked with our librarian to reduce the number of books that we had that students just didn't utilize. And this is our wonderful C5 coordinator right here. It's College Career Community Center. So she really works with students on helping them understand that transition from high school to college to real life. But part of what we did was we got rid of about 6 bookshelves that really weren't being used, and like I said, I wanted to be more user friendly, more like a Swiss Army, so that we can do different things, conferences and whatnot. So we brought in the circle tables and 5 chairs per table. So we increased the capacity 100% in this room. So originally it was only a 50-person seating area on that side, but then taking those bookshelves out and kind of repurposing some of them, I'm able to do more conferencing on this side of the room. We're going to put a stage in where we can do some panel speaking. We're restructuring this area here so we can do our own little tiny desk concerts. We've got artists already lined up. We've got our spirit section with some of our things in our bookstore that we're building out right there behind you. So like I said, more useful space. And then when students in classes still want to come up to utilize the library side, you still got the whole library side that can fit another whole 50 people. So we plan on doing like some galas, some small workshops, things for the community, and to bring more of the community inside the building. That's one of the things. A lot of people will drive past the building and say, oh, hey, it's a pretty cool looking building, but they don't really know what's going on inside. And I want to bring some of those people back to the inside of the building. It's really about inspiring through the work that you do, right? So every day I come into the school building, every day I work with my youth groups outside of the school. It's about what I'm able to accomplish on a daily and then sharing with them what the process was, right? Mm-hmm. So if I can share with them the process and the steps along the way, they're able to kind of replicate that. But you got to be able to do the work yourself too. You can't sit back and say and do one thing and then come in and live another way. So it's all about being able to, one, being congruent from the way you are outside of work to the way that you are at the job. So that's the number one thing too. And then getting them to believe in themselves. So a lot of times, take you back to when Dennis Harris gave that kid that $100, right? That kid probably thought that, man, even if I make this shot, he probably ain't gonna give it to me. But because that kid did something that nobody else could, it inspired that kid like, yo, man, I made that shot. I wonder what else I can do that nobody else can do. Right. So it's what I attempt to do every day in my daily life, right? Hey, you've never been able to get an A in this particular class. Well, let's challenge you, but let's find the steps along the way that's gonna help you get that A. Or in my other walk of life, in my nonprofit, you've never been able to run this fast. All right, well, here's the goal. What are the steps, the little baby steps that we can take along the way? Because a lot of times what we do is, we live in this microwave society, right? Everything is instant. We want to be able to get that success. We want to be able to get to the goal, right now, without really thinking through what are those baby steps? What are those little things that I can master along the way? I'm picking up skills, I'm picking up traits towards my goal. So whether it's, kids in the school, whether it's kids on the track and field, finding that path that they can take where they're seeing little pieces of success. And when you fail, okay, cool. How do you reset? That's what I learned from my mother. How do you reset and get back to the goal in hand without getting so sad and depressed? So really trying to find, that path for every individual and letting them know that you are an individual. Everybody's not the same. Everybody's blueprint's gonna look different, right? It might look the same on paper, but what you're dealing with, the circumstances that you have in life are gonna be different than my circumstances. But can we get to the same goal? Yeah, we can, but it's gonna take the recipe's gonna look a little different. Giving kids the opportunity to express themselves with their art throughout the building. And this is a pretty cool piece. 2 seniors who graduated last year, they did this piece. And it took them the whole year, but just watching the creative process, the thought that went behind it, the expressiveness was pretty cool, pretty amazing. So what we try to do is we try to rent out spaces for kids. So as long as they're a student here or a recent grad, they'll have a chance and opportunity to put some semi-permanent work up on the walls. We're working with panels now, so the work can be put on the panel, and after some time, we want other kids to have the opportunity to do some of the same artwork. So we'll be able to remove the artwork, give it back to the kids without destroying it. Yeah, and the next kid, freshman, sophomore, just imagine being a 10th grader.
Pretty much a published artist now.
That's what I'm saying. There's so many eyes and traffic that comes through this building that sees this artwork. And people are reaching out for commission work now. Oh man, the first thing is just having faith. Just knowing that God got us all here for a reason. I know specifically what my purpose is, my God-given purpose, right? And when you can live in that, when you can walk in the Word, you know that you're going to be okay, right, through everything. And then having a good support cast. My wife, Veronica, look, that's my ace, right? So nothing that I do will ever seem to her as if it was impossible for us to make it through together, right? And whenever it's time for me to take a seat, she's always there to fill that void, right? Whether it's driving home from some Cedar Point, or hey, I can't pick up the kids today, or a meal need to be cooked, whatever it is, really finding that balance within the relationship. She's been there, right? So we're going on 13 years of marriage, man, and being able to know where we've come from to where we are now, it is it's a tribute to the strength that she has within herself to make sure that I'm okay, to make sure that I'm good. So yeah, I attribute a lot to her. And then too, knowing that the people that I'm working with, they have the success that they're looking for. So when somebody does pass that class, when somebody does lift that grade, or when a teacher is able to get to that student, or when a kid on the track is able to run that time, seeing them happy. So when I see people happy because they set a goal, and when they went through their process to get to their destination, that makes me feel good. Not because it's like, oh man, I had a hand in that. I never want somebody to come to me and congratulate me on the success that person had, right? No, go congratulate that person, because they made it up in their mind. They put in the work. They made the sacrifice. All I did was just give them away in a platform. So seeing people have success, seeing people be happy, that rejuvenates me every single day. So yeah, it is tiring, but when you can see, your family, your wife, your kids, you can see your coworkers and hundreds of kids through the years be happy, it allows me to get back up the next day and try to go find the next person that needs the same thing. It does, man. So I want everybody to know and understand like my vision, and it's not just lip service. I want to put it on all of the walls so every floor has that same vision. We strive to be a beacon of hope for the city of Cleveland, specifically for the kids. Using unique platforms. We're going to spread a message of love, unity, and hope, and we want to be a top 100 high school in the state of Ohio. So I want our kids to know, man, art is great, art is beautiful. We're gonna take care of you artistically. I want y'all to be strong academically as well. I don't want nobody taking advantage of you, whether you're going into the industry, in the working track, or if you're going to college. I want to make sure that they know and understand, hey, I've got options. I've got things that I can do if I don't want to be a professional in art. And you got a number of kids that's like that. A lot of kids that go to school here, I wouldn't say a lot, but a handful of kids, they're just like, I'm really, really, really good at what I do, but I don't want to do this as a profession. Humans, I feel, once we reach a certain status, we believe that what was behind me is no longer of use to me, right? In the world of education, once you hit a certain status, once you hit a certain peak, now you're feeling like, hey, I'm on top of the mountain. What I know is what I know, and if you're not on the same level as me, you can't tell me anything more than what I know that's gonna help me in my profession. So what I remind people is that, man, it's always more to learn. And a lot of time the learning doesn't come from an institution or a person that's necessarily higher than you, but sometimes that learning can come from somebody that's lower than you. Why? Because it's reminding you of where you came from, right? And if you have the motivation within yourself to not go back there, or if you want to help to pull somebody back up, it's important for you to go back to those, to those places. So for me, in education, having a master's degree or having a doctor's degree in this position, it doesn't mean that you've arrived.
What it means is that you still got more work to do because you've achieved one goal. So once you got to that one level of success, now you got to go higher. And sometimes you got to go back to some of those folks, to some of those places that were your stepping stones to help remind you why you need to continue to keep going forward. And just being able to be in the school building and walk through, when you're learning from each other, it just benefits those kids that much more. When you're on the coaching staff, if you're able to learn from your coaches, you're able to impact the lives of those kids that much more. So when we're in a situation, I don't have all the answers. I never want to have all the answers because we want to be inclusive to everybody that's in the picture. And if they can provide that type of support, it's going to do a couple of different things. One, it's always going to benefit the kid. Two, you're going to learn more. But then three, that person that's trying to get to the place that you are, now they're getting experience on, hey, this is how, this is how Mr. Franklin, this is how Coach Franklin handled the situation. I might do it the same, I might do it different. But now, when it's time for me to step down and me to step to the side, I know that I've done my part in bringing up that next generation of leader. So, like I said, complicated, absolutely, but rewarding because you know that you got a hand in bringing somebody else into the picture once it's time for you to bow out.
So you talk about like having vision, knowing and understanding like the history of Cleveland School of the Arts, and all of the alumni that come. The alumni base is crazy, man. These people love this school, man. I mean, they go hard for this school. So this hallway right here, we're working on commissioning, working with Cleveland Print Room and Repros. They're going to help us outfit this whole hall where we're going to turn this into Legacy Hall. So everybody who's had an impact, whether it was a donor, a teacher, a student, a family, community partner, who's had like a real lasting impact on the school, we're going to honor and recognize them in Legacy Hall. So it's pretty fun. This is our Black Box Theater. We just renamed it last year in honor of Dr. Scott G. Miller. He was our longtime theater director who helped, build. He was the architect behind the theater department here. The theater department is up on the second floor, so everything that we can do from sound, amplification, lights, audio, all of everything that we can do at the big theaters, at the Cleveland Playhouse, next door John Hay, even bigger than that, we can do right here.
Yeah, so I'm the first black male principal of Cleveland School of the Arts. Been around for more than 40 years now. The history and the legacy of CSA to produce not only some of the best students, but some of the best artists in the state and in the country. The alumni at CSA, man, I really equate it to like a fraternity, like a proud fraternity. The folks that graduate from this particular institution go off and they're doing some amazing things, in all sectors of art and creative lenses. So for me, I think the pressures that I face are living up to what those historians tell me what CSA used to be, while also being able to move the school into a new age, right? So some of the barriers, it's just reasserting Cleveland School of the Arts as a premier institution. When I first came in, I laid out a vision and a plan for the school. The first goal that we had was to reestablish the brand of Cleveland School of the Arts because it had been around for so long. It had did so many great, wonderful things, not just in the community, but in the state. I wanted to make sure that people recognize this school as still that institution where kids can come, they can learn, they can enjoy, they can create, and then they can go into the world and they can do some amazing art. So that was the first thing, was just reestablishing the brand. The second thing was to produce high-achieving academic students, because it's one thing to be a really, really dope artist, but it's another thing to be academically proficient, right? And that goes back to my background as an athlete in high school and college. Whereas I wanted to be a really, really great football player, I wanted to be a top talented track athlete, but I also wanted to make sure that my academics was in place, because if that professional sports career didn't take, which it didn't, I still had the academic background. It's no different than being in a school like CSA. So being able to produce really dope artists that also smart and intelligent can go into any university in the country. And then the third thing was really to be able to just give back to the community, right? CSA is a school that gives its students a platform where they can have access to people and places that regular schools, they just can't do. So I wanted to make sure that we still had a strong foundation and a staple within the community that we serve. So being out at the Ronald McDowell houses, being out at City Hall, being out at the different churches and the different organizations, whenever there is a space and time and opportunity and we get a call, we wanted to be there. So those boundaries and those pressures were different from my predecessors because I look different than them. I speak a little different than them, right? And I just wanted to make sure that they knew and understood that when Ricardo Franklin Sr. came to the table, he was bringing with him a plethora of historical reference to what used to be and the ability, the knowledge to take the school into a new direction.
How you doing?
Great.
All right, doing good, doing well. School lunch, take you back, man.
Yeah.
So we have a semi-permanent stage that's set up for students. So at lunch, when a student wants to present something, they want to talk about something, they've got, the space and opportunity to be on stage.
So they could just, what you mean?
Hey, if somebody wanted to set up a keyboard, set up some drums.
In the middle of the lunch?
Middle of lunch, yeah. Because before we had this, we just had to set them in the corner. And it was like, yo, can't nobody see you guys.
Yo, that's dope.
What y'all see? So we get them there, turn the lights on, man. They banging out, man. You get kids singing, dancing. You got fashion shows that'll happen during lunchtime, like just impromptu. You know what I'm saying?
When is lunch? No.
Right, they just finished right when you was walking in. The last lunch period was ending. There was somebody up there too.
So one of the things I knew when I came into the school was that I was going to encounter kids that had passion, kids that have drive, kids that knew what they wanted to do. But what I saw early on was what I talked about before, that microwave society, right? That instantaneous, this is what I do, this is what I know, and this is what I want to be. I'm gonna go do that right now. Cool, great. But what steps are we taking? So we had students that would say, hey, school isn't for me. And my response was, well, what do you mean school isn't for you? Oh, because I got these gigs, or I'm already making money doing this. Cool, that's great. Is it sustainable? What's the plan to be able to scale that? What's the plan to be able to make sure that that revenue that you're making right now is there for your entire adult career, and then when you have a family? So what we're looking at doing right now, and what we have began doing, is creating two paths at CSA. So you have kids that's really, really dope artists that were talented enough to get into the school because it's an audition process, right? And not every student gets in. We auditioned nearly 400 students, but only brought in 106. So of those 106, they're the best of the best. So we're taking those students that are the really, really dope artists, and they can create, they can produce, they can generate their own income. Now we want to take them through a professional track. So getting them engaged, getting them in front of and with professionals in the industry of the art that they're in, right? So now it's not just, oh, hey, you've got this experience, you know how to create art, and you know how to put out your art, but how do you market that art? How do you market yourself? How do you ensure that what you're signing up for is what you really thought you were signing up for? And going through the business lens of things, right? So that professional track. Those students that are really, really dope artists, those students that come to CSA and say, you know what, Mr. Franklin, I love art and I am good, but I don't want to be a professional artist. Okay, thank you for letting us know. So this is what we want to do for you. Now we want to take you down this academic path. We want to get you into AP classes. We want to get you into college credit plus classes. So now you're taking college credits before you can graduate, right? And perhaps at your graduation, you're not just graduating with a high school diploma, but you're graduating with an associate's degree. So having those two tracks and understanding that everybody's path is always different, and those kids that go the academic path, maybe they come back later in life and say, hey, I do want to tap into my art side. Well, you still got that as well. And those kids that went the professional route, they are still getting that high quality education. So it's all about that balance and trying to find out where the student is leaning towards, so we know exactly who to put in place, what measures to put in place to kind of balance their scales so they're not getting one more than the other.
Arts classes, they go for a total of 75 minutes in opposed to just 50 minutes of their academic classrooms. So when they go to their math class, science, social studies, and they go to all of those classrooms, it's like work, because they don't have as much time as they do in their academics. You want to complain about something else?
Yes, I want to complain about everything.
Why?
It's easy. Where's Mr. Josh? Where's all the good teachers?
Why?
We visual arts kids. We tired of going to the black box.
Why?
We need our teachers.
How are we gonna get them?
Y'all gotta pay them.
Where the money coming from?
Well, the people that be walking in here don't want to give us money because these kids don't know how to act. If y'all can, listen, if you can line them all up and beat them all.
So
that because these kids
ain't gonna work. That ain't gonna work.
I'm a servant leader, so me being able to do small things, acts of kindness for my wife and my kids before I leave the house, that gives me a sense of purpose. And so doing that then takes me into the work day. The work day, man, of a school leader is wild, right? And I quite often ask myself, like, and I don't consider myself famous at all, right? How do famous people manage all this, right? And I'm always given an answer, because I ask people this, they say they don't. They don't manage it all by themselves. They got a support team. So I believe in, one, being a servant leader, but I also believe in allowing people to lead within their own particular area. So knowing that everybody's qualifications is different, but they in place and purpose for a reason, allowing them to be within their space to be able to take the load off of me. And I think that's the hardest thing, because as a black man, as a leader, you know, we're prideful in thinking that, man, we can do everything, but we can't. And it took me until, you know, my wife, had to sit me down, like, look, bro, you not Superman. She literally said that to me one time. You know, it kind of hurt my feelings a little bit, right? And we got feelings too. She said, you're not Superman, and everybody that you think is, you know, with you ain't for you. So being able to really see the people that are in my life and what the purpose, like you and I, like, we have purpose. It was destiny that you and I met. Like, my life wouldn't be the same if I hadn't met you, right? Some of the things that I learned when we were in college from you, I still do to this day, man. And when we was 18, 19 years old. We, you know, pushing the, you know, the other side of 40 right now. So knowing and understanding that the people in your life has a purpose, and being able to allow those folks to do what their purpose is for me, whether it's just, hey, how you doing today, right? How many times people really ask you that and they mean it? So knowing who those people are, or, hey, man, can I take this off your plate? Or, you know, people coming to say, hey, I did this for you already. So allowing those people and not being too proud to say thank you, or I appreciate that, you know what I'm saying? Knowing what those things are. And on the dietary side, man, hey, look, I need help with that, Jay. I can't even front, man. I am not the most health conscious person that I once was when I was an athlete, but what I do know is that everything that I put in my body, it's got a purpose, right? But it also has consequences. So knowing what those things are and being conscious enough to say, no, I don't need none of that right now. I need a little bit more of this. And really trying to find spaces and time to be physically active. Because as a school leader, there can be times in the building where you are in the building and that's all all day you ripping and running. But then there's also times where, man, I'm sitting down for 6, 7 hours, a whole school day, working on things, and really consciously trying to make that decision. Okay, I need to pause this. I need to get up. I need to move. I need to do this. And then, like I said, in my nonprofit, man, my wife, my sisters, my god brother, my godmother, a bunch of us a few years ago, we started a nonprofit called the Warrensville Youth Track Club, man. We started with, I think it was about 15, 17 kids in that first year. Second year grew a little bit into our third year. We just concluded our third year. Man, we almost 100 kids in this program. And one of the goals that I had when we started that program for me personally was to be physically active. So really trying to, whether it's, in the drills or every so often getting in a run with the kid, having those things kind of brings me back to, the childhood boy days where it's like you racing up and down the street. But the only thing now is, you feel it a whole lot more, and that ain't never fun. But yeah, man, just, really taking account that God's blessed me with 45 years, right? And God willing, I got another 45 in me. And every day thinking, what is that next 45 gonna look like? Because now I've got more control over it. The first 18 to 21 years, it was, you gotta go to school, right? You gotta learn how to work. You gotta go to this job. You don't have enough experience, accreditations to do the things you really want to do. I'm in a place now where, man, I can write my own ticket. So it's really up to me what this next 45 looks like.
Right. It's another fun thing about me being in education for so long. This is year 26. Being in education is that I've been in it for so long, so now I'm one of those people that say, oh, I had this kid back then, I had this kid back then. But the cool thing about me being a high school principal is that I just came from being a middle school principal. So I got a lot of kids from a middle school that actually goes to school here now.
I think the message that I would give to anybody, folks that's watching this, the folks that know me, the folks that think they know me but not know me all the way like you do, man, is really knowing and understanding like who you are. Who do you want to be? What are the steps going to take? And finding that space to inspire yourself within first. Because if you don't take care of yourself, nobody else will ever benefit truly off of what you can offer. Man, and don't give up. Don't give up. Because life is hard. Black boy growing up in the hood, 93rd and Cedar. Now I'm the head of school at the Cleveland School of the Arts High School. A husband of going on 13 years. 3 amazing kids that are gonna be great themselves. Just don't give up, because along the road, I wanted to give up plenty of times. Plenty of times. Selfishly, because I knew a lot of people needed me. I knew that the people that I worked with, I wasn't finished. My journey isn't complete because there's more people to help. There's more people to support. There's a wife to love and care for. There's my own children to see them through their adolescent, their young adult lives. And as a kid, a mother who believed in me, right? A godmother who literally gave everything she could and treated me like her own. There's a mentor from Case Western Reserve who saw enough in me as a 10-year-old that he's still in my life 35 years later. I think those people is why I didn't give up, because they saw something in me that I knew was there. I just didn't know how to get there. And so now it's my purpose to help that one person the way that all of those people helped me. the story that you tell about saving my life, dude, man, I saved your life first, man. Because if I wasn't put in that room first, you would have had that cat as your roommate.
No, sir, I had a choice. I had a choice. We're not going
But what I'm saying,
I had
though,
a choice whether to have the room, have another room to myself, or be your roommate.
Hey, man, how improbable was that, man?
Right.
Improbable, because you got to think, statistically, all of the kids that was being enrolled as a freshman, all of the dorms, in all of the dorm rooms, not a single one was overbooked with 3 people in the room except ours. That's crazy, man.
Yeah, you got blessed that day.
Yeah, man.